everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast. We are blessed to be here with Kevin Oto with Greenhaven Capital. Kevin, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. Oops, sorry about that. Let me turn that phone off. Sorry about that.
It's always when you don't want it to go off
I
is when it
know,
happens.
I know. I forgot to turn my do not disturb off, so I have to turn that on. I'm sorry about that. So yeah, no, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
It is my pleasure. And you have built an absolutely phenomenal mortgage business, hovering somewhere in the top 100 in the nation as far as volume produced, according to Scotsman's Guide and some other sources. So, congratulations on building that business. I'm really looking forward to diving in and discussing how you run such an incredible business.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm happy to be here and share anything I can to help and improve uh all the other loan officers' business if I can. Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are. How did you get started in the business? But more importantly, how did you decide to grow the business and grow the team? And then what does your structure look like as far as your team and everybody that you have involved in the amount of production that you're doing?
All right, so I'll try to be quick. I got in the business in 2003, 2004. Worked for a retail shop for about a year. About a year after I was doing really well at that company, decided to leave, entered the broker channel, was there for about 2.5 years. Then 2008 hit. That company obviously had some struggles, some hardships. They scaled down, pretty much closing up shop. I was young then in my 20s, didn't really know what to do. Said, you know what? I'm going to start my own company, took a leap of faith, did it. Started very humble beginnings, worked out of my house, worked out of a bedroom. There was like four of us just working. And primarily just focus on refis because that's all I knew at the time. Didn't really have the relationships. And then over time just grew and grew. It wasn't until maybe like I would say 6 or 7 years ago that I actually started to change my mindset to just focus on purchases and building relationships with realtors. And that's when I actually started to scale and grow a little bit. I'm not, a huge company, but that's when I started to, I need a loan officer assistant. I need them. I need to delegate tasks so I could focus on just generating business, educating clients, and just doing more volume. So then once I got a LOA, that freed up a lot of time. Obviously, I had to train that individual, but it allowed me to grow, get more business, and then slowly added a couple more loan officers, added a couple more processors as the volume grew. And then if you go back to 2020, 21, obviously everyone had good years then, so we had to hire a few more. So that helped us grow. We have about a total of 10 in our company right now, but you know, volume now is obviously down a little bit. We still have the same amount of people here. My team is now just me as the primary, broker, owner, producer. I have one LOA. My LOA has an assistant that comes in part-time to help him. We have a compliance officer and a processor. That's my team. And then I also have a few other loan officers who do their own loans on their own. So
That
that's
is amazing.
yeah.
So you mentioned shifting from refi to purchase, and majority of your business now comes from realtors. So I'm interested in what that transition looked like and how did you ramp up your relationships with realtors going from having none to now it being a primary part of where you get your business from?
Yeah, I mean, it was a slow shift, but I just felt like every time I started doing a purchase, it was more of like a audition. Like I need to wow the listing agent. What can I do to give them just an amazing client experience to over communicate, just to do things that other lenders weren't doing. So put in my mindset that I was going to do that. Every time I did a purchase, it was an audition. And then it's to get better every time. Just ask for feedback. What can I do better? And then it became into once I had a relationship with that listing agent, whether they were sending me business or not, it was what can I do to maybe get in their office and present to their team, or how can I add value to that agent, their office? How can I help them grow? How can I educate them? So it just became something where I'm looking to get into offices and not ask for business, but educate their agents, let them know what's going on in our market, how we can assist them, why it's important to use a knowledgeable local lender and not just any lender that comes with your buyer's pre-approvals, and the value that we add both before, during, and even after the transaction, which I think is most important. I really think that once a deal closes, that's really should be the start of the relationship with us, the realtor, the client, and that should be a client for life. So we have to be able to nurture that person throughout the whole time, like I said, before, during, and after. And hopefully that one referral will lead to two or three more.
That's amazing. Now, do you have processes in place for as soon as the deal closes, how often you communicate with the client, how often you communicate with the realtor, how often you communicate with the realtor on the other side of the transaction?
We try to set, I mean, we put everyone in a CRM. So there's like timely emails that go out depending on where they're at, right? We're checking in with them 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, like timely emails. And obviously between then we're touching bases with holiday emails, birthday emails, things like that. But it's just making sure that we're touching these clients. And if there's any uh, like specific product or program that's out there that's going to positively impact or help that client, we're going to let them know. We have systems in place that'll really just make sure that we're aware. Hey, maybe they could remove their mortgage insurance right now, or maybe this person can go from a FHA to a conventional right now. So we want to make sure that they're really always in the best financial position. Like we use things like HomeBot too, right? It's a small thing, but
Yeah.
it gets, if I look at the statistics on that, like, 60, 70% of the emails that are going out are being opened. So people have their eyes on it. It adds value to the clients. So it's just doing little things like that to make sure that our clients are being put in the very best position at all times.
That Yes, it's super valuable. And you mentioned the how do I put it? In the mortgage industry, it's so transactional in so many businesses. And taking a look at the different products that you have and how they apply to your database and how you can build value and bring customers back, but also that generates referrals, that generates ongoing repeat business, that customer for life. So, who on your team is responsible for going through the database, looking for those opportunities, and then communicating that to the client in order to make that actually happen?
I put that on myself, honestly.
Wow.
I put my client in there. They're in our CRMs. We're taking a look at the data. I look at it almost every month to see if there's any potential opportunities for people. I let my team basically handle all the upfront stuff for the most part, qualifying them, running AUS, making sure, we have our our inquiry letters done, just calculating income, all those things that are time consuming that I feel like anyone could really do. And I'm out
Yep.
there trying to make sure that I'm on top of our database, making sure that we're capitalizing our business, making sure that if anyone has an opportunity to save money, we're there. Or if anyone's getting their credit pulled, we know it. I mean, we use Monitor Base, we use all these different programs to really help stay on top of our database to make sure that we're retaining our sphere.
Excellent. That is phenomenal. And you're focused on the money making activities. That's the highest leveraged
Correct.
opportunity in the business. Work on the
Correct.
database and work on the realtors. So I'm interested with the amount of experience that you have with realtors. What do you find is the number one thing that you do where you get feedback from realtors as far like why do they do business with you? Why do they choose you? What's the main thing that you use to convert those realtor relationships?
It's really just education, just
Hmm.
helping them, I guess, grow their own business, giving them knowledge to help them convert leads. It's providing a platform where we don't just take a lead, we try to nurture that lead for them and convert them. We're not just calling them one time. It's really doing things that other people aren't. And it's simple, but a lot of it just comes down to communication.
Yeah.
A lot of these agents, they don't pick up their phone 100% of the time. They don't respond with text within 5 minutes. It's being responsive, being honest, being realistic, and just setting standards up front. And as I think, as long as you're educating your realtors, responding to them, adding value to them and their clients, I mean, they're going to come back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you do much business with financial planners, insurance advisors, other referral partners outside of real estate?
Yes, we do. We do have, well, I have a couple CPAs that I work with.
Okay.
I have a financial planner that I work with, but they send me deals sporadically.
Right.
Wouldn't say like, a CPA, like if they're doing taxes right now, I'll probably get a few referrals from them. Like right.
Right.
Right. Um, but the realtors have been the most consistent source of business from us.
Okay. And that for our listeners, again, is one of those things where focus your efforts where you're going to get the results. That's where it is in today's marketplace. And I always believe in a diversified lead flow, but definitely start with the low hanging fruit, which is the database and the realtors. So, Kevin, you've built the entire company, plus you're the main producer.
Mhm.
So I know that actual production and being efficient is incredibly important for you. So can you share with our listeners like what your routine looks like? Like how are you so efficient with having all of these responsibilities on your plate and still growing at the rate that you're growing?
I mean, it's being very structured and organized. I don't really just like taking phone calls on a fly. I mean, I will, and I reply to a lot, but for any client, if they really want to get an in-depth analysis or anything, I use Calendly. I'm always like, hey, can you guys please book something on my calendar? I want to be scheduled. Um, I have a routine. Like I wake up at the same time, I pretty much go to bed at the same time. I work out the same days of the week. So it's just being structured and being able to organize your day and prioritize tasks and be able to delegate tasks that, aren't really the main money making priorities, I guess.
Yep. Leverage. It's about making sure your time is focused on the highest leveraged opportunities. And I'm
Absolutely.
very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's if I don't have my routine, it's wonky. And I find one thing that's really helped me just to share with our listeners and with yourself is at the beginning of every day, I've always got three major projects that I have on the go. And I'll always do one thing on each of those three projects to move that needle forward that day before I touch anything else. So as soon as it's work mode and I go into the office, it's those three things that happen that are on my desk and nothing else gets open, nothing else gets done until I've got those three needles moved. And then it's on to the rest of the routine, which is 100% calendar based, just like you. It's just like, I don't do same day appointments. I don't do same day calls. Has to be in the calendar in order for it to happen.
Yep. Yep.
Very valuable stuff. Do you sharing any of that with your team and have your team on a structured calendar environment, or do you kind of let them run their own time management?
I let them see what I do every day,
Yeah.
and I give them some suggestions on what they should do. Most of them all have Calendly links. I make them get the same tools that I have. I give it to
Okay.
all of them. Whether they use it is up to them. I don't want to force them to do business a certain way. Everyone's a little bit different. So I don't force it. I just strongly encourage it.
Yeah.
And for the most part, when it comes to CRM and follow-up email, stuff like that, they do implement all that. But the actual workflow day to day, each loan officer is a little bit different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Kevin, thank you for being so generous with your time. I do have one final question before we wrap up. But you're doing a lot of real estate based business, and the volume that you're doing. Um, I get all of the time from loan officers right now. They're saying like, "Oh, agents don't have deals to send me," or "Things are slow right now." And personally, if you look statistically, I mean, yes, the market has dropped, but if you compare it to what it was 2.5 years ago before, the massive boom that happened, volumes are still great. So what are you seeing in your marketplace and how would you respond to that?
Um, and where I'm at in Sacramento, the market is still very strong. It's still a seller's market. We're seeing multiple offers again. Yes, I know the volume's not there because maybe the inventory is not there,
Yep.
but there's always going to be a reason for someone to buy, sell, refi. Um, for me, I knew it was going to be a tough year, but I don't let rates dictate where I'm going to go. I don't say, okay, rates are now 6%. I'm not going to do as many loans. It just meant that, okay, I had, 50 real estate agents sending me business. I might need to get 100 now. So what am I going to do to capture 50 more agents? It's just a mindset. It doesn't matter what rates are going to be. I don't care what obstacles are put in front of me. There's still people closing loans. I see it online. There's still people doing, much more volume than I'm doing. And I know if someone else can do it, why can't I do it? Right. There's always a way
Yes.
to do it. You just have to have the correct mindset, stay motivated, focused, and just be on top of your game. And I feel like if you're one of the best in your industry and you know things, you know how to get things done, you're adding value to your clients and your agents, people are going to gravitate towards you.
I could not agree more, Kevin. That was a phenomenal response. So, if there are loan officers out there that want to learn more about you, the business, and reach out and get a hold of you, what's the best way for people to reach out?
Um, I mean, I think I'm always good on email. You can email me, koto@greenhavencap.com. You could follow us on Instagram or at Greenhaven Capital. We post something pretty much every day. I'm heavy on reels. That's been a great tool for me as well, but that could be another conversation.
Awesome. Right on, Kevin. Well, thank you for sharing. And again, thank you so much for being on the show.
All right. Thanks so much for having me.